guys, before this week, had you ever heard of the Chrysler Grand Caravan?
No.
Yes.
No, but I've heard of a Lamborghini.
Well, unfortunately, this isn't a Lamborghini, but it is a minivan. And we love minivans for all the space and the sliding doors. And what better way to test the 2025 Chrysler Grand Caravan than with my 3 kids here with me. Let's get inside and take a closer look. If you've never heard of a Grand Caravan, I can only assume that you've got a good excuse, like, I don't know, maybe you were literally born yesterday, or maybe you're a couple of my kids. That said, caravans have been around for longer than I have, and yet they're still out and about on the roads. However, what you've likely been seeing are Dodge Grand Caravans, and that Dodge minivan was discontinued after the 2020 model year and the nameplate was moved over to Chrysler. In Canada, the Chrysler Grand Caravan, or Chrysler Voyager in the US, is available in one trim and one trim only. But it's essentially the entry-level version of Chrysler's Pacifica, despite Chrysler trying to give this caravan its own distinct position in the lineup. First impressions of this Chrysler Grand Caravan is that it's not all that bad for a base model of the Pacifica. It's actually got quite a few features that you likely wouldn't have seen on a base trim just a few short years ago. However, at nearly $50,000 before fees and taxes, that's not quite the flex it should be, especially when you can get a hybrid Kia Carnival for less than that. But more on the competition in a bit. If you're looking for something that's made in Canada because, Trump tariffs and all that stuff, then you'll be glad to know that the Chrysler Grand Caravan is still built in Windsor, Ontario. The front-wheel drive minivan is powered by a 3.6-liter V6 engine that makes 287 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, which is the exact same as the non-hybrid Pacifica. It's mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. I think we can safely assume that those in the market for a Grand Caravan aren't necessarily looking for something sporty or speedy, but getting up to highway speeds quickly will be a struggle for this big guy. It's loud and grumbly and just doesn't care to do more than what's needed or expected of it, much like my kids. So what's new with this Grand Caravan for 2025? For starters, there are some interior and technology upgrades, but it's nothing mind-blowing. This is, after all, a base trim, though technically that also makes it the top trim, right? There are standard leather face seats, 3-zone temperature control, rain-sensing wipers, as well as second-row sunshades. Also available is the easy-to-use Uconnect 5 system that all displays on a 10.1-inch infotainment screen, which can wirelessly connect to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. New safety features also include blind spot monitoring, rear park assist, adaptive cruise control, and lane departure warning. As per Canadian regulations, there is a standard backup camera, but the quality isn't all that great. And you don't have the option of a surround view camera, but still, it gets the job done. Now that we're driving, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but this car gets a little loud on roads where you gotta pick up speed a little bit. So if you're going up a hill, or if you're trying to get up to highway speeds, it is a little bit loud. There's that struggle as we climb up a hill. It's not terrible, and once you get up to a cruising speed, you'll be fine. One thing I will note, it's such a nitpicky thing. I find the speedometer a little bit weird. It's sort of on an angle. The 0 is directly straight to the bottom, and I guess I'm used to it being turned a bit. So the 0 is sort of here at like the 7 or 8 o'clock position. So when you're going 60 kilometers, you kind of feel like if you look down, it's at 20. I don't know, maybe that's just me. The kind of cool thing about this Lone Wolf trim is that it can take the anxiety out of buying a new car and figuring out what you may need versus want. You won't have many options to choose from, and the few that you can choose won't add an arm and a leg to the base price. All the aforementioned features are standard, and the Grand Caravan comes at an opening price at $47,700. plus the $2,195 freight and delivery fee. If you hop over to the Chrysler website, you'll notice only a few options to choose from, including the exterior paint color. This tester's Red Hot Pearl paint will tack on $395 to your price. This black interior is the only option, but if you're looking to keep it somewhat clean, then you can also add the $895 Mopar interior protection package that includes all-weather floor mats for the well-known stow-and-go seats, as well as for the cargo area. And while we're talking about the seats and cargo area, my kids' first impression of the Grand Caravan was along the lines of there's so much space. Granted, I'm not sure if spending the previous week in a Ford Mustang Mach-E, which has considerably less space, made them feel as though the Grand Caravan was luxuriously spacious. That said, they should be relatively used to space since we have a 2014 Honda Odyssey, but this Chrysler minivan does feel quite a bit more open and spacious. Note that because there's only one trim, the Grand Caravan is only offered as a 7-seater, while some of its competition can be optioned with 8-passenger seating. Behind the third row, you'll find 915 liters of cargo space, which means you'll have more than enough room to road trip with the whole family or fit a huge Costco haul, which is essentially an average Costco haul since there's no such thing as anything but a huge one. It also comes with 3 in-floor storage bins that can be handy to sort things out back there. But if I'm being honest, I'd probably use those storage bins to store stuff in my house instead and just have the big open space to throw stuff in there. If for whatever reason you find yourself needing extra space, the Grand Caravan is equipped with those previously mentioned stow and go seats. So, unlike some of the competing minivans, you won't have to completely remove that second row and find the storage space for it, as you can just lift it up and push it in. It's actually pretty simple too and not very heavy. One more thing that's great to note is that while the Grand Caravan is still a really great van and can most definitely get the family hauling job done, this likely won't be your first choice, as it probably wouldn't be mine. Again, it's not to say that it isn't an adequate vehicle, but for some $50K, I put my money on a hybrid Kia Carnival that starts just below that price, but it'll also save you money at the gas pumps. While the Honda Odyssey starting price is a bit higher, Honda fans will stay loyal to its trusted reputation, and same for the Toyota Sienna, which is also a completely hybrid lineup. The hybrid minivans will claim an average fuel consumption of around 7 liters per 100 kilometers, while this Grand Caravan will likely be closer to 11 liters per 100 kilometers in combined highway and city driving. I think one of the reasons I might favor the Grand Caravan over the Pacifica is if I don't need a hybrid, and I'm not looking for luxury features that come along with the higher trims. The base Pacifica starts a bit over $50,000, and to be honest, you're not getting a whole lot more from it. You may as well just save a couple thousand and hop into this Grand Caravan. At the end of the day, I'm a fan of all minivans. It's hard not to love something that has sliding doors. However, if the Chrysler Grand Caravan had a slightly lower starting price, the 2025 model year might be a bit more popular, despite minivans being generally unpopular in this time. As a mom of 3, give me something cheap, basic, and functional, something I don't mind getting messy. Unfortunately, that's not quite the 2025 Chrysler Grand Caravan. Frankly though, get me a decent used Dodge Caravan and I'd probably be a happy camper. Ooh, a squirrel.
Did you run over it?
No. Now that we've taken a closer look at the 2025 Chrysler Grand Caravan, let's hear what my kids have to say about it. Layla, what's your favorite part about this minivan?
I can buckle myself in some cars I can't.
That's amazing. Melody, what's your favorite part?
I like that when we go for the drive, there's a lot of leg space, and in other cars there's not much.
Nathan, you got anything to say about it?
When we're getting out of school, mostly we're just pushing, but in this car, there's lots of space to get out easier.
That's true. And let's talk about the flip side now. Is there anything that you wish you had in this minivan that isn't in it?
I wish there was a TV in it.
Layla, anything from you?
I wish it had games in the front.
Yeah, I get it. Sometimes we're waiting in the car for a little bit, and games in the front seat are really great. But there's also iPads, so we don't really need rear seat entertainment, right? Right?
Sure.
With that said, if you do want a new minivan, this is a fairly simple one with the warranty. And it's kid approved. For Driving.ca, I'm Renita Narain. For more minivan reviews and news, check out our website or follow us on social media.